Appropriate consequences for 2, 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. Now, the first thing you want to remember is that the primary goal of consequences is to teach your child the appropriate behaviors rather than punish them. Now, before we actually talk about consequences, the first tip is that you have to be consistent. If a child whines and whines and whines 20 times until they finally get their way, they know that now it takes 20 times until they can get what they want. It's also important to remember that you need to give positive reinforcement for good behavior. Now, the first consequence that I'm going to talk about is for younger children. So I have a son who just turned 2 a few weeks ago, and I use timeouts for him. I know this is old-fashioned and some people don't like it, but it does work. My son's issue right now is that he's screaming every time he wants something, and I have taught him sign language. Yes, he can't communicate fully, but he can say more. He can say help. He can say please. So every time that he screams, I move him to the couch. He knows that's his timeout spot, and he does actually calm down very quickly because he knows that he can get up when he's calmed down. Now, for a timeout, the appropriate amount of time would be about 1 minute per year of age. So my 2-year-old sits there for about 2 minutes. The second consequence that I wanted to talk about is loss of privilege, and this is one of my favorites, and I know it's hard to do. A privilege is anything that your child has or does that does not include their primary care. This could be screens, treats, toys. Now, if at all possible, you want to link the loss of privilege to the actual situation. For example, if a child is screaming and whining for a treat before dinner and they're not letting up, guess what? Their loss of privilege is they don't get a treat after dinner. Now, I know this is something that's very hard for parents to do, but the ultimate goal is to raise a good human with good character, and this is something you can do to help that. And the third consequence I'm going to talk about is natural consequences. This means you're letting your child experience the natural reaction to their action. For instance, if they refuse to eat their meal, they are going to feel hungry until the next scheduled meal or snack time. And the last one I'm going to talk about is verbal guidance. At this age, children are still learning right from wrong. It's important to use clear and simple language to help them understand why their behavior was unacceptable. And then you need to guide them towards the more appropriate actions. I actually put this part in my preschool parent packet that I give out at the beginning of the year to let parents know that behavior and social interactions need to be taught just as math and science and reading do.